Let's roll, baby. Welcome in. It is a loaded Monday East Coast bias right here on the Ringer Gambling Show. The triple threat, ready to rock and roll after a eventful, insane, dramatic, top-notch sports Sunday, even if the results weren't necessarily what you desired. Ryder Cup, your baseball team, maybe your football bets. As good a sports day as you're going to have. We're going to break it all down, hopefully have some winners for Monday Night Football, and start to set the stage for week number 5. John Jastrzemski alongside my compadres, Raheem the Dream Palmer in Las Vegas, Joe House in Washington, D.C. House, take the lap on Europe. But my goodness, buddy boy, when we were doing the Ringer Sunday pregame, I did not anticipate we would have the drama that we did on the back nine at Bethpage Black. Next time you see any of these PGA players, can you tell Mr. Henley, let's not leave putts short, House, for goodness sakes? Come on!
Well, it's amazing that it came down to that, really, JJ, because the way the Euros had played on Friday and Saturday, it didn't seem like there was going to be any drama whatsoever. There was so much drama that I ended up watching the early afternoon NFL games with only like half of one eye, because I was all the way into the golf. Like once Cam Young got off and grabbed a point, and then JT followed it up, the golf took kind of my whole attention. And it wasn't because I wanted to dunk on the U.S. team with my wager. It was just because I'm a Patriot. I was rooting for the U.S. It would have been the greatest comeback in the history of the Ryder Cup, so I was there for it. Ultimately, the mountain was too tall to climb, and all I really missed in terms of the early games was this Giants team is live, baby.
Well, listen, a lot of excitement in my neck of the woods, even though I am not there at the moment. I'm in Florida, but Jackson Dart winning their first game, the pressures on Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers, and you see the difference in that Charger team when you take Joe Alt out of the starting lineup. A terrible, terrible performance by Justin Herbert. But listen, I was set up, Raheem. I was at Nick's down at Hollywood Beach. There was like 10 zillion screens. So between the football, the baseball, the golf, my attention, I was like, my head was on a swivel. It was absolutely insane. But Dream, before we start diving into these Sunday games, this is the Ringer Gambling Show presented by FanDuel, and the NFL is officially back. So if you're going to be in it with FanDuel. They've got the goods, futures, live betting, SGPs, your way bets, all of it. The app's clean, it's fast, and yeah, when you win, you get paid instantly, which is nice because Sunday patience doesn't exist. So get your bets in, build something bold, and make every game feel bigger. Download the FanDuel app or head to FanDuel.com/gamblers to get started. The Ringer is committed to responsible gaming. Please visit rg-help.com to learn more about the resources and helplines available, and listen to the end of the episode for additional details. Must be 21 plus and present in select states, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Paid endorsement. If there is a takeaway you have from a week 4 standpoint, now that most of the dust is settled, we're still waiting on 2 more games on Monday. I'm curious to see where you would go. Your biggest week 4 NFL takeaway.
Well, there's a ton of takeaways that you can grab from this week because I think a lot happened, but I think the biggest thing is the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, we spoke about them yesterday. Obviously, I gave out a tease on the Kansas City Chiefs, but this Ravens defense is so abysmal that I don't know what you do. And then when you suffer all of the injuries that they've suffered, we're now at a point where I think you can buy on the Pittsburgh Steelers to win the AFC North. And I do think the Ravens at this point, they're in danger of missing the postseason. Yesterday,
wow.
When I was watching the game yesterday, I checked FanDuel Sportsbook. They were minus 1,200 to make the postseason. They're down to minus 650, plus 430 to miss. And, you look in previous years where maybe Lamar Jackson got banged up and this team can weather the storm. I don't know if they can weather the storm. You know, Lamar Jackson came out of that game yesterday with a hamstring injury. And next week, you got to play the vaunted Houston Texans defense. And we know that offense isn't very good because Anthony Dabbundo's been telling us this for 2 years. But that's a tough defense to go against if you're not right. And if they lose that game, who knows what happens?
You know, it's fascinating, Raheem, because if I go back to our show that we did on Thursday, me, you, and Ariel Epstein, or even some of the conversations we had over the course of the weekend, thinking about this Raven Chief matchup, I do have a thought that came from you that's been lingering in the back of my mind where you said, JJ, I think the loser of this game, we got to go and invest in. We got to buy Super Bowl futures. We got to go and buy AFC tickets. But you were doing an about face here, and the Ravens could not have played worse. Their defense is totally gashed and totally depleted. I thought on the offensive line, they looked like an absolute mess. Derrick Henry doesn't look right. Lamar Jackson gets beat up and gets knocked out of the game. So forget about buying in on the Ravens. Raheem, you're going to just unload across the board. Is that right?
I'm not going to totally unload yet, but I do think you can probably grab some, AFC North futures on Pittsburgh right now because I'm really worried about them next week against Houston. And, I don't want to, jump to conclusions yet, but I might find myself on the Houston Texans. It was 7, it's down to 6.5. I might sprinkle something on the money line because we just don't know what's going on with Lamar Jackson. And if he doesn't play, we know that line is going to shoot down. So I might preemptively grab the Houston Texans just because I think that defense can cause some real issues for the Baltimore Ravens. And right now, as long as that defense is banged up, Texans have a shot.
House, fascinating. Is that week 4 game more about Baltimore and their troubles? Or did you look at Kansas City now, winners of 2 straight, offense was better, Worthy back, and say, you know what? The Chiefs are going to be fine. Now, I ultimately thought they would be because they are the Chiefs. They were going to find a way. But it's amazing. Chargers lose, Chiefs win. Now they're only a game back in first place. It's amazing how that just gets rewrited within the span of a week. More bad Baltimore, more good KC, at least for you.
So it's amazing. Of course, Dream and I go right to that game. That's the game with the biggest sort of impact and takeaway. And I thought it was about the Chiefs. This was a perfect spot for the Chiefs. It was my favorite underdog of the week. I gave it out on our Sunday pregame show as my best bet for an underdog play. I wish I had the balls to just play it as a wise wager as well. But the message to me that the Chiefs conveyed is, yeah, we're a radically different football team when we have our speedsters. And they put Xavier Worthy to work immediately. They put the ball in that man's hands a variety of different ways. He looked healthy. And all of a sudden, magically, that offense looks like, a version that we've all been begging for 2 years. I will say, of course, that the Baltimore Ravens defense contributed quite a bit to the offensive output there that the Chiefs revealed. But, the Ravens, it's interesting. Even though I imagined that the spot was good for Kansas City and that they were very well positioned to win that football game, the injury thing is starting to look like, is it going to be the story of this Ravens season? It's too early to reach conclusions, but when we were looking at the schedule, we thought that this might be a tough tough situation for them going into Kansas City. I kind of had it penciled in as a loss. I had them at 1-3. But I thought that, there would be some restored health going forward. I mean, they still are without their fullback Picard. That dude, and likely that's your 12 personnel. That's how you get that offense going. That's why Lamar Jackson has looked so bad running for his life back there. They can't protect him when both Likely and Picard out. Likely came back, Picard still out. They can't get into the run formations that they like, that they dominated with the latter half of last season. It's those two dudes that are crucial. And then the spine of that defense, I mean, they need restored health there. But looking at the schedule, we were like, maybe they can go on a little run here, get themselves right. They would come into this week 5 at 1-3, and then rip off a 4 or 5 game thing. I'm like, okay, I see. This is Baltimore. The injury stuff is concerning, so I'm not sure. I will say, on the note that you guys both just kind of offered up, if you want to do this, and I just did it while we were talking on the FanDuel Sportsbook right now, you can parlay the Pittsburgh Steelers to win the AFC North with the Kansas City Chiefs to win the AFC West, and that's plus 788. Now, I'm not saying that, this is something that you should do, but if you wanted to do it, it's a way to stake out a little early season position, and you don't have to parlay them. Pittsburgh is plus 300 to win the AFC North. Baltimore is still the overwhelming favorite. The Chiefs, this might be the best price you're going to get all year, plus 145.
Give it to me right now,
I really
House.
I really like the Chiefs. And I think the big thing is the Chargers, they've suffered so many injuries on the offensive line. And you saw that Giants pass rush absolutely wrecked them. And I don't know if they're going to be able to overcome that. Obviously, you lose Slater before the season, but now you suffer even more injuries. And I just think it puts them in a bad spot. The Chiefs, obviously, they get back Xavier Worthy. But the thing that was exciting to me is that, I said this to some friends, but I felt like maybe they were a little bit better off because they lose Worthy and Rashee Rice was, suspended, because they got a chance to get other guys involved. They got a chance to get Juju involved. They made another Hove in Tyler Thornton. So now you have a ton of weapons. So it's not just the main guys, Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice. You have a ton of guys that you can spread the ball out to. So I think they are almost going to be better off for the long run. But at that plus 145, I think you need to grab that on the Chiefs right now.
Sign me up right now, plus 145. Already have had somebody take care of it because I'm in the state of Florida. I cannot bet on FanDuel, so I had one of my birdies in New York make sure they took care of that for me. That is a bet I made this morning, full disclosure. And I know you guys are well aware of the fact that I've been on record of saying the Pittsburgh Steelers, with Mike Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers, as ugly as it may be, are not only going to go to the postseason, they are going to win a playoff game. So I'm on record of that. I'm going to keep rolling with that take. You're going to hear it ad nauseum throughout the course of this year. So I like where you guys are at. House, we had 2 rat lines that really came home to roost, and we talked about them rather brilliantly, might I add, on the Ringer Sunday pregame, because I saw that Charger Giant line, and it screamed rat. Chargers has been as good as anybody. Giants with a quarterback change. Oh, there's no way the Chargers can lose. And we saw what happened. Offensive line issues. Herbert stunk. Jackson Dart gave him a little jolt, and they end up winning the game even though they lose neighbors for the year. And that Packer-Cowboy game, House, you just knew tease special, parlay special. Everybody was throwing it into everything on Sunday night. And yet, let's be honest, Dallas should have won the game. I mean, you could tell me, hey, Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur screwed it up at the end. To me, Dallas outplayed Green Bay significantly there in that second half, despite the fact that their defense is just Swiss cheese. It's absolutely embarrassing. But it was a Sunday in which, my friend, the Rats really stunk to the high heavens, did they not?
I mean, we tried to tell people, even during the course of the week, I was trying to issue public service announcements. Please do not bet these 6.5 point favorites. Don't do it. Don't put them in spreads. Don't put them in money line parlays. And part of that is, we talked about this on the show yesterday, you and me, JJ. The stickiness of the numbers. They didn't move one iota. Nobody with sharp instincts came in, and the price stayed the same. It was flat all week long. So that tells you, be careful. Don't mess around with this thing. People are not grabbing a side here. That was a soft spot for the Chargers. Of those 2 games, I think I said to you that I was worried more about the Chargers than Green Bay. That Green Bay performance, I think we're now all officially on notice. Maybe not the pencil them in for the NFC North and the Super Bowl run that we did 2 weeks ago. That defense, wow, we were really crowning them. They were lost all game long. Now, I want to give credit, of course, to Schottenheimer and to Dak Prescott and to all of those receivers, because it was just George Pickens and a handful of guys that the sporting public hasn't heard of before. But man, they got vertical against that Green Bay secondary, and Green Bay didn't really get pressure. We thought that might be the calling card of this Green Bay defense, Dream. I just didn't see it.
Yeah, Dak Prescott, he showed why he's probably a top 5 quarterback in this league. I mean, you got to shout out to Robert Turman, too. I mean, he had a kick return. He put them in good field position almost every single time they needed a drive to, either tie the game or win, almost potentially win the game. So I just think that Cowboys offense, I said it at the start of the year, when Dak Prescott is in the lineup, they have such a high floor that it's almost impossible to, take this team to be a bad team. So the Cowboys showed us, obviously against the Bears, they lose CD in the middle of the game. So I mean that kind of hurts them. But having a week to prepare with Dak Prescott, this Cowboys offense is a force to be reckoned with. But it's just unfortunate because the defense is so bad that even after they take the lead, you can't trust them to get any pass rush. You can't trust them to get any stop. But I want to talk about the NFC North because I think that's a real interesting discussion because I think you have you think you have the Detroit Lions who have showed that, they haven't skipped a beat. But then you got 3 other teams who could reasonably challenge for that division. You look at the Minnesota Vikings, they're at plus 950. You got the Chicago Bears at plus 1,500. They're 2-2. Same record as the Packers at this point in time. So how do you see that playing out? The Lions are plus 135 to win the division. The Packers are plus 100. Are you guys buying in on any of these teams?
Well, I can't back off my Packers tickets and all of the stuff that I got involved with Green Bay going back to the start of the year before they even made the Micah Parsons move. But if there's a takeaway for me within the NFC North, and Raheem, I'm glad you brought up Detroit. They, I think, in week 1, House, are going to be the team that we look back on and say, hey, that was one of those week 1 anomaly, weird kind of games, and the Lions are really good. They figured it out. Their coordinators are fine. They're not one of these teams that's just totally lost at sea because they have a new play caller, on defense. Like, they're fine without Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. They're a really, really good team. So I guess truth be told, Raheem, after watching now these last couple weeks of football, I don't feel as good about my Packers division bet house that I did maybe after that week 1 game. Just saying.
Yeah, we have across our group, I think, decent Packers investment in our portfolios, but I lost some of my enthusiasm in that preseason because when you just sit down and look at what Detroit has on both sides of the ball, if they're healthy, like they're such a truck at home. They just handle business at home. I thought for a minute there that the Browns might actually, threaten to cover that game. It was 20-10 in the third quarter. I was like, hey, Brownies, because that Browns defense has been pretty formidable. But, they turn Flacco over, and Detroit continues to be able to score. There's a real interesting stretch for the Lions coming up here that will be kind of like the tail of their season. They're at the Bengals this coming week, and then they follow that up with at the Chiefs. Then they're home against the Buccaneers. That's going to be super fun. They have their bye week, and then they catch the Vikings, Washington, and the Eagles all in a row. So that stretch, if they end up like 4-2 through that stretch, then you're looking at a Detroit team that I think would be pretty well positioned to take the NFC North, because I don't believe in anything having to do with the Bears or the Vikings.
That's where I stand. I think it will be Detroit or Green Bay. Minnesota's well coached. Obviously, Carson Wentz on the road. I mean, Haas, I can't believe you went down that road. Was that you or Simmons? Be fair.
I think Simmons will take responsibility. I told him, I said, look, let's just make sure.
No international games. You got to adopt the rule. Raheem and I have adopted the rule.
I've never adopted that rule.
Oh, no. That's the rule. I have a rule. This is me being a leader. There are times you're a follower, and I can do that. I'm a team player.
I respect it,
I'm showing leadership, Raheem. I am showing my leadership skills in reneging.
There might be an international game next week that I really like. I'm not going to.
That's fine. You bet it on your own. You give us a wise wager. It ain't going into 107. Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of wagers that really you don't want to make, and they're not going to be fun, and they're not going to be easy on the eyes, the stomach, or all of the above. We have a couple of grotesque Monday Night Football games.
Before we get to Monday night, can we talk about the NFC South?
I mean,
Because
sure, I could have gotten to it a little later, but since you want to go there, yeah, let's go there. Why not?
so this Buccaneers team, and I said it, I've been saying it all week because I always felt like the Buccaneers and the Eagles are two fraudulent teams, two teams that I wanted to bet against, and unfortunately
Okay.
they were playing each other. Well, you saw the fact that Baker Mayfield, he's one of the league leaders in turnover worthy throw rate, and that came home to roost yesterday against the Philadelphia Eagles. Well, they finally lose a game, and if you look at their point differential, they're 3-1, but their point differential is 0. And Atlanta Falcons kind of got it together. They went out there and put the smackdown on the Washington Commanders. And right now on FanDuel Sportsbook, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are minus 250, and the Atlanta Falcons are plus 300. I think you need to grab the Atlanta Falcons right now at plus 300 because we know the division's bad. Carolina's not winning the division. The Saints aren't winning the
And
division.
New Orleans not winning the division.
There's too much value on the Falcons for how the Bucs are playing, and they suffered a ton of injuries. Like Jamel Dean. The defense is so banged up right now, and this is a prelude for probably my best bet. But I like Seattle -3 next week against Tampa Bay. Against Tampa Bay, and I just think Atlanta is in a good position. So grab that plus 300 now.
So I think from a numbers standpoint, you're onto something, Raheem, because plus 300, yes. Mm-hmm. Also throw in the fact that Tampa now has their next 3 weeks. They got at Seattle. They host the 49ers. They go to Detroit. That is a very, very difficult slate. So you could see Tampa losing a couple of games there, including the one you kind of mentioned, Raheem. But I still have a confidence in Baker Mayfield to be able to pull these games out of the fire. Mm-hmm. And I have heavy investment in the Bucs over this year. I have heavy investment in them to win the division. But at plus 300, House, I get where Raheem's coming from, at least. I wouldn't say I think they're winning the division, but I get the number. I do.
Let me just put it out there while we're having the conversation. Then the Falcons' next 2 games are home against the Bills, which probably a loss. And then at San Francisco, and who knows who will be on the football field for San Francisco.
Could
so that's a tough one.
Loss. Yeah.
Well, it's tough to handicap one way or the other because every week San Francisco has another 2 of their crucial starters go down. But the stretch that really intrigues me with Atlanta, and I'm wondering out loud what the price will be after the Bills and 49ers games. They're home against the Dolphins. They're at the Patriots. They're at the Colts. And then they have the Panthers, the Saints, the Jets. Now, they could really, in that stretch, go, if they're really cooking, 5-1, 4-2. But I think I'm wondering if we should wait on that price to see, because they have the bye this week. And then they're home against Buffalo off the bye. And then they're at San Francisco. But that Dolphins, Patriots, Colts, Panthers, Saints stretch, that might be the time when I want to jump in there. And I'm wondering if we can get a better price because maybe they've lost both those, the Buffalo and the San Francisco games.
I gotta think about it. I like right now at plus 300. I just feel like there's value. I'm almost, because I really think Tampa Bay is going to lose next week to Seattle. So
okay.
I'm worried if they lose that game, that price can come down. And we did see Buffalo almost lose that game to New Orleans. So I'm not willing to just chalk that up as a loss, especially with, Buffalo being on the road. So
that's the key. Atlanta, this is the thing that I'm worried about. Atlanta looks like a radically different team at home and on the road. So I'm going to probably find myself in a position backing them in home games and trying to stay away from them on the road.
And this was honestly, this has been the best NFL week in a long time. Especially for, just bettors, people who've been betting for a long time, because I think the NFL and how long you been betting? You've been betting since the 80s.
Yes.
Me and JJ, we've been betting since the early 2000s. The one thing about the NFL is that any given Sunday, any team could win. And I feel like for the last year and a half, we haven't seen that. We've seen favorites dominate. Well, This week we see the New Orleans Saints. They come off that loss against the
Very
Seattle
live in the
Seahawks,
game against
and then
Buffalo.
they were super live. This week we see the Chargers lose outright to the Giants. This week we see the Packers not cover. And this is the NFL in which, if you've been betting for a long time, you've grown up on it. You can take some of those ugly
NFL
goals.
I've known for my entire life, Raheem. This is the NFL I know. Yes. Yes.
Even with
yes.
saying that, though, still the case that through 4 weeks, favorites of 6 points or more, 15-2-1 straight up. So we had a loss and a tie this week. So otherwise,
But I mean, we finally had some dogs come in. We had the
Yes, that's
Jaguars,
right.
we had the Bills,
That's right.
we had the Chiefs.
Yes.
Like, it was finally a week that felt like NFL betting.
That's right. Yes.
And that's the kind of NFL season I want to see, because that's just normally the way I play these games, for better or worse. So I want to have more Sundays like we had here in week number 4. Okay, let's get to these awful Monday night games. House, the Jets are catching 2.5 against the Dolphins. The total is at 44.5 on the FanDuel Sportsbook. The Jets are not going to have 2 of their best defensive players. Jermaine Johnson is out. Quincy Williams is out. Dolphins extra time to prepare after the close but no cigar effort against Buffalo. Not always a good thing, though, because you've seen in a lot of instances these teams that have the close but no cigar game, there's not necessarily a trickle-down effect the following week where it's like, oh, you're just going to go and win the next week. There could be a letdown here, potentially. Now, if you're Miami, if you can't go and beat this Jet team with extra time, with guys being out on defense, then maybe it's time to pack it up for the remainder of the 2025 season. Yet, market is a market. It's a 2.5. They don't want to budge off 2.5. What's your read on the game?
Yeah, the hard thing is we've been watching this Dolphins team and seeing, since that week 1 stinker where they didn't show up for the NFL season, which one of these is the pack it in, pack it up game for the Dolphins? They're 0-3. I will say the Dolphins on offense look better against both New England and Buffalo. And I'll just get it out of the way right away. My favorite bet for this game is the Dolphins team total over 23.5. I like them at home. The injuries, you mentioned it, the linebacker for the Jets, Quincy Johnson, I think is his
Quincy
name.
Williams.
Williams, that's it.
Yeah.
I knew they had some injuries and there was a Quincy involved. And the very sneaky thing, if you go back and look at the Jets defense since Robert Saleh was fired, it's not a good defense. They give up points. The over has come home quite a bit in Jets games since Saleh left as defensive coordinator. So I don't really want to get involved in or invested in a spread with the Dolphins and the Jets. But I think the Dolphins can get points at home with the extra rest and with the injuries on that Jets defense. So Dolphins team total over 23.5 is how I'm playing it.
Dream.
Yeah, I'm also on that team total as well. We gave that out yesterday on the Ringer NFL pregame show. But I think I'm going to lay it with Miami. I think this is just – I like the spot for Miami. Aaron Glenn, he did win the meme war last week with that dance. But
Amazing.
I love the fact that the Jets covered last week, but I think that had a lot to do with Tampa Bay's injuries. And, they were getting blown out for large parts of that game. But ultimately, Tampa Bay was banged up on the offensive line. I think this is just a smash spot for Miami. I think if they can't get it done, then they need to fire their coach. So I'm going to take that team total over 23.5. Obviously, you need it at 23.5 because 24 is key, but I'm also going to take the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to lay the 2.5.
I'm holding my nose as well. This is a disgusting bet. This is one that's going to have a foul stench attached to it before the game and after the game. But everything you illustrated, Raheem, is so spot on. Miami should be able to pick apart this Jet defense that has been awful across the board starting this year. They were awful week 1 against Pittsburgh. They were awful week 2 in stopping the run against Buffalo. And they did not have any answer down the stretch for Baker Mayfield moving the football. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Devon Achane in the passing game should be able to exploit the middle of the field. Miami's offensive line obviously has to hold up. I think this could be a sneaky over. I know a lot of people are going to look at these two teams and they're going to say, hey, gross game on Monday Night Football. I don't trust either offense. I don't trust either defense. Miami's defense stinks. The Jet defense stinks. I think you could have some points here. And if I'm looking for 2 guys to go and score touchdowns today, I'll give you a couple anytimes. Jalen Waddle has scored in 2 consecutive games. He's kind of finding that chemistry again with Tua. Beat up for most of last year. I'm going to play Waddle to score a touchdown, And from a Jets standpoint, I expect them to establish the run. I think that's what they're going to try to do in this game with the return of Justin Fields. Braylon Allen is getting a good price to go and score a touchdown. He scored against the Dolphins last year in South Florida. They're both in that plus 185 to 220 range. I'd play both to score touchdowns, but I'm with your Dream. Dolphins and the over, and if the Dolphins lose to the Jets, somebody needs to pay the price. Shame on them. Okay, one down, one to go. Raheem, we also have Denver as a 7.5-point favorite, hosting Jake Browning and the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, this line is drastically different from what it would have been if Joe Burrow was at quarterback. Cincinnati could not have looked worse a week ago against Minnesota. However, we've seen Jake Browning, Monday Night Football against Jacksonville a couple of years ago, won outright in a Monday night game that kind of sabotaged the Jaguars season when they ended up missing the postseason. You have those receivers. You're going to have a humbled team. The problem is you may have a very angry and ticked off Denver team. Bo Nix has played poorly. The Denver defense has not been as advertised yet. What's your read? I'll defer here. Bengals, Broncos. What are we thinking?
I'm going to pass on this game. I'm going to be honest with you. It feels like there's value on Cincinnati, but I just don't trust Jake Browning to not turn the ball over. And I think that's the concern here. When I look at this team, like on the surface, how do you lay 7.5 points with Bo Nix? But I think this line is there for a reason. So I'm personally going to pass. I think if I had to lean a direction, it would be Cincinnati. It feels like there's value there, but I'm staying away.
How's you getting involved?
I am, but I'm following Dream's instinct here. There's a whole bunch of trends that say that when a team like Cincinnati gets blown the F out in 1 week, the next week the number is a little bit inflated, and all the against the spread trend numbers are north of 60% for a team like the Bengals coming into a situation like this at 7.5 and covering that number. But why do I want to get invested in Jake Browning and this bum Bengals offensive line and the bum defense? I'll just go ahead and play a nice, simple Monday night money line parlay. Let's take the Dolphins to win outright and the Broncos to win outright. Plus 104.
God,
like
what
that.
could go
Plus
wrong?
104.
Oh my God.
Plus money on the fan.
I can see it now. 9:30. I'm getting texts.
Go
Dolphins
chase it,
suck.
baby.
Why did I do this? Oh no.
I'm not gonna lie. The house parlays without Simmons tend to work a little bit better. I mean, this guy's like that's no diss, but you're talking about a guy who's betting 1,000% on same game parlays right now.
I missed last night. I missed because
Fair.
The last leg was Green Bay by a field goal. I mean, if the dummies had scored, could have held Dallas down, I would have won that parlay. The scoring legs all hit. It was just Green Bay winning.
Raheem, this total has kind of fallen a little bit. Is that a result of the quarterback change or no?
Where's the total? We have that at what? We're looking
44.5.
44.5. Maybe I'm looking at a look-ahead total.
Yeah, it's definitely 44.5. Yeah, because if Joe Burrow was in the line, this would be like 49-51 or so.
High 40s.
Yeah.
It has to be with what he's able to do offensively speaking.
Yeah.
I kind of think I hold my nose and take Cincinnati in the game. The problem I have is I'm not going to be surprised if Jake Browning goes out and throws 3 or 4 interceptions. Like, he's more than capable of doing that against his Bronco defense. But he also could go and put up 250 or 300 yards passing because he's just going to sling it. He's not going to be hesitant. And for better or worse, that's what you get with the Jake Browning experience. So if I had to play the game, I would hold my nose and take Cincinnati. All right, gang, we're going to take a quick break. And then we are going to do our mulligan for week 4, where it's kind of hard to find one. It was actually a very good week for the boys. So we like the sound of that. The week 5 bet you can't wait to make. We'll come right back. Boys, I don't think we're going to spend a whole lot of time on the mulligan. Normally, House, I feel like this is an easy one for me, and I don't have any hesitation. The mulligan I'm actually going to give you, House, shockingly, was a winner. You know what the pick is? The Rams. Because they had no business covering against the Colts. Got to call it like it is. And Raheem,
I think they had business. 88-yard touchdown pass. That feels like business to me.
Well, I mean, it's a miracle. And also
I know it wasn't a miracle.
the Colts for the second year in a row have a dumb
That makes it, once is a miracle, twice is a trend.
But then even beyond that, you look at the fact that the Colts literally were in a position to take the lead. Jonathan Taylor runs it into the end zone. You got a holding penalty. Then you get another penalty. Then you get another penalty, and you end up punting instead of taking the lead there. So, like, this Colts team is much better than people thought they would be. And I think that's probably the mulligan for us, because I think we all went under their win total, and they pretty much showed that it's not Daniel Jones, it's not Saquon Barkley, it's the Giants organization, which is holding back players. But I'm surprised you didn't say the Raiders as a mulligan.
That's me. I took the Raiders as my wise wager.
But JJ did too for the Ringer 107.
Oh no, JJ.
Yeah, but I didn't feel bad about it.
Okay.
No, I didn't.
That's fair.
I really didn't. I mean, they screwed up the clock at the end of the game. Like,
They screwed up a lot of things.
The Bears their house.
Yeah, it was a dumbass dabble. Like, that's it. I don't need to gamble on the Raiders anymore for the rest of the season.
That's it. I'm out on the Raiders.
Right?
Yeah, me and you both. I'm out.
If Gino's going to turn the rock over, I mean, that's 2 disaster games in 3 weeks out of Gino. Like, I can't have anything to do with them anymore. They put all their chips in the middle. They literally gambled in Vegas. They lost. They're done. Like, Dream made the case for us on the Ringer Gambling, the pregame show yesterday, and then reminded us last night. The Raiders are among the worst 5 teams in the NFL. And with Gino at the quarterback position, I think that they're a compelling case to stay right there.
At this point, are we sure Pete Carroll is even an upgrade over Anthony Pierce? I think, like, we get
Antonio Pierce.
Pierce, yeah. Like, at some point, we get to the point where coaches hit a wall just like players. And I think Pete Carroll's hit that wall, that same wall that Bill Belichick hit the last couple of years, and now with North Carolina.
I can't go there yet after 4 games, but he's gotten off to a bad start, and he coached a terrible game yesterday. So from that standpoint, Raheem, I can't argue, but
you want to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I want to give him a little bit more time. You know, he's coached 4 games with the Raiders. Let's see how he can leave his mark. Do you have a bet? Raheem, by the way, I told you New England, after I switched to the Rams, was going to win by a zillion points. I should have bet now I did bet the Patriots. We had it in Ringer 107. I loved it. But on our show Sunday, I audibled that at a wise wager. Instead, I had to sweat. That was a given. I should have loaded up on, like, alt spreads with the Patriots. Like, Raheem, I put this one on a silver platter for you, big boy.
My mulligan is definitely Minnesota. I mean, that was horrible. I mean, it wasn't a rah-rah Mike Tomlin spot, as they always say, but betting against Mike Tomlin in, Dublin is probably a bad spot. But I think for next week, Minnesota, they're staying overseas. Like, so they're going from Dublin to the United Kingdom and taking on the Browns. That was the spot I should have attacked. Like, I should have just said, you know what, we're gonna hold off, not bet them against Mike Tomlin and the Steelers, and then bet them the following week. And I mean, that will be a bet for me next week. It probably won't be Ringer 107, but I think you have to bet the Minnesota Vikings next week. I think it's your duty. Like, and if you look at historically, the Jacksonville Jaguars are the only team who's done this. They've gone overseas and they play back-to-back games. And the second game, I think it was against New England or Buffalo, and they absolutely blew the doors off of them. So I think it puts you at an advantage to be overseas. So next week, I'm on Minnesota.
Fair enough. Okay, House, looking ahead to week 5, is there a wager that stands out at the moment?
I was interested in the Rams hosting San Francisco, but that number has jumped all the way up to 4.5. And I'm not sure what's driving that. It must be, I guess it's Trent Williams.
Ricky Pearson got hurt.
So okay.
Yeah, Pearsall, I don't think he's going to move the number that much, but,
But it's the combination of so many injuries that they've...
This was like a 3.5, and it's all the way up to 4.5 on FanDuel right now. So I don't like that. I like Dream's idea, even though I just got through saying don't bet the international game. I might go ahead. This might be an instance where I buy the half point, because right now on the FanDuel Sportsbook, it's the Vikings are favored by 3.5. I might go ahead and buy the half point and have it at 3. It's minus 108 at 3.5. I'll get the price for them, but you know, I'm not going to sit here and recommend it because once again, it's Carson Wentz, not at home, in a football game.
I'm taking them first half. I think the first half is probably the way to go just because they've been there, they've been acclimated. But I think the other ones I really like. I like Seattle minus the 3. Like I really like Seattle next week against Tampa Bay with all the injuries that they have. And I also like the Giants Saints under 41.5. I think those 3 are my favorite right now. And then obviously we spoke about the Houston Texans and the Baltimore Ravens earlier about grabbing that number. It was 6.5. It's now down to 4.5 as we're talking about this show. Like literally within 20 minutes. But I mean, my favorite 3, Seattle minus 3 against Tampa, Saints, Giants under 41.5, and then Vikings minus 3.5, and then take the first half whenever the market opens.
Guys, I have one that's staring me in the face. And it's going to sound gross, and I can't believe I'm actually suggesting this. I think New Orleans is going to beat the Giants next week. The Giants are not going to have Malik Neighbors. I think it's such a letdown spot after what happened against the Chargers. And the line is indicating that. I mean, you're seeing the Giants barely favored in this matchup. New Orleans has not been an absolute embarrassment in a majority of these games. They were in Seattle, but for the most part, they've kind of hung in. House, I've already bet it. I will be on the New Orleans Saints. I don't know if that will be my wise wager, but when I look at the Week 5 card, there's a lot of uncertainty for me at the moment. That's a spot. That's a game I know I'm betting. I'm taking the Saints. You guys can mock me at your will. Go right.
I don't have any reason to mock you. The Saints have been live all season long. They've been, threatening to cover, these big lines, and they just did it against Buffalo. They can move the ball. They have the weapons. Rattler's getting better. He has a good coach in Kellen Moore. They're not an abomination, the Saints. So I don't mind it, JJ.
Yeah, I actually like that. I think that's a good one.
Oh, okay. I get a little blessing from the Bias boys. Thing of beauty. All right. We'll step aside. We come back. We welcome in the 4th member of our team for 3 and out. Plus, we got to get all the wild card picks on the agenda, including Yankees, Red Sox, including Padres, Cubs. I have that one circled. Tigers, Guardians. I mean, that's a 1 p.m. special if I've ever seen one. And then the LA Dodgers, who will not be taking on Mr. Soto and the Mets. The Reds. The Mets missed the playoffs to the Cincinnati Reds. They even get cooperation, and they can't beat the Marlins on Sunday. Oh, my goodness. What a disgrace. All right, we'll come right back. Hey, D, you ready for your Philadelphia Phillies? Week 5, Week 4. I don't even know what it is, but it's a Monday. You're here. Rock and roll. What's happening, dude?
Oh, it's one of the best times of the year, JJ. I'm excited to be here. It was a long evening breaking down the MLB playoff bracket, digging through all the box scores. We've got Champions League soccer tomorrow. I don't basically sleep this week, and I've been trying to cut sugar, but I've already had one of these bad boys today. I had to walk down to the convenience store. We're running on nothing but pure sugar, so let's do it.
Oh, my goodness. The soda, the caffeine up the wazoo. We got to get you to Starbucks with me. Get you the iced espresso.
I'm not a coffee
It's
guy.
the whole deal. But anyway, we'll get to the... Oh, you're missing out one of the great wonders of life. And I have one a day. Although, House, after 7 a.m. tea time for your boy, I may be getting a second as soon as this podcast finishes up.
Yeah, I'm not a coffee guy either.
Oh, you guys are missing out on some beer. You guys missed my morning routine. I walk my baby. I sip my coffee. I'm strutting my stuff in Brooklyn like Travolta. Come on, man.
I'm more of a green tea guy. I'm green tea with it.
Okay, all right.
It's all right. It's all right. House and I will have our coffee. Dabbundo, we have a lot of baseball we want to get to with you, but we don't want to preempt 3 and out as far as the NFL in Week 4. So we'll let you begin there. Take number 1. What's it going to be?
We are past time to be worried about the San Francisco 49ers, and I'm a little worried that the market is now catching on, and we might not even get the chance to bet against them. I was on San Francisco 2 weeks ago on the money line. I was on them yesterday. I laid the 3, and you can just see the seams of this team slowly coming apart, and I'm not sure that the easy schedule is going to be enough to bail them out of it. When you look at this injury situation, I think there's 2 key ones, and then there's some other ones lingering. The first one is Nick Bosa, right? He's such a good all-around defensive player, the way he run fits, the way he rushes the passer. And yesterday, without him, they had a 16% pressure rate. That is by far the lowest of the 28 teams that have played this week. Everybody else except for Baltimore was over 25%. So they were not able to get to Trevor Lawrence, and time again, Lawrence was able to convert these big third downs down the field because he had the time in the pocket to sit there. And I just don't really know what the solve is for that for San Francisco, because he's not coming back. And Fred Warner's great. Like, they still have a few talented players on this defense, but if you're not able to consistently generate any pressure, again, 41% in week 1, 39% in week 2, 35% in week 3, 16% yesterday. It's a huge red flag. And then on the other side, I don't think Trent Williams is healthy, or he's just, I don't want to say washed, but like clearly declined. And the offensive line, as a result, if you go to the other side, the pressure rates they're allowing are sky high. And it's a concern right now. 40% yesterday was pretty high. The only week where they were able to avoid getting a ton of pressure on them was week 2. So you're seeing the mistakes from Purdy. You're seeing the issues running the ball, and you're not generating pressure. This team is not very good in the trench, and you have to downgrade them considerably off of it.
Can I give you guys my take on the 49ers? I think they're going to find a way to the playoffs because of the incredibly soft schedule that they play. But to your point, Dabbundo, without Nick Bosa and with the cavalcade of injuries that they have, boys, I just don't see this as a championship caliber team. I know, Raheem, we've talked for years about the Niners being, hey, when they get in the playoffs, they're going to the NFC title game, the Super Bowl. This ain't one of the 4 best teams in the NFL. I don't see it. The roster's not the same. They're too beat up. At least for now, 4 weeks into the year, I do not see it. I'm with Dabbundo on this.
I don't even think they're making the playoffs. Like, I really don't. I just think the division is too tough. And I'm just looking at the NFC North. I think the NFC North is going to have multiple teams. I think maybe you could pencil in the Detroit Lions. You could probably pencil in the Packers. But I think one of those other teams, either the Bears or the Vikings, are going to find a way into the postseason. So I can't put the 49ers there. I think the Rams are clear. They're the clear favorite in that division. And then the Seahawks are a juggernaut.
If you like the Rams and Seahawks and you assume Packers and Lions get in, there are no other spots.
Yeah.
Right? So that's where it gets a little tricky. I mean, I guess they could grab the 7, but I just don't really trust anything here. I mean, Kittle coming back could be huge. Could be really big. And they already did bang 2 division wins. But like, this red zone offense has been a disaster too, because they can't efficiently run the ball. Like, this O-line, it's the worst it's ever been in the Shanahan era. And it all comes down to like, okay, now there's a lot of weight on Purdy to kind of carry this offense. And I just don't think he's that guy. Like, he's a perfectly fine quarterback, but he's not an elevator of talent around him. And I think you're seeing that in the first few weeks, a lot of mistakes from Purdy.
Okay. Take 2, Dabbundo. Out on the 49ers. What's next?
I feel like such a downer this week. I have like all these kind of negative takes. I'm not buying anything of what the Giants tried to sell me yesterday. I mean, it was a nice win. Great job, Jackson Dart. First drive was great. I think they really kind of surprised the Chargers. The script was good. Nice job by Brian Daboll. Nice job by Mike Kafka. They get the opening drive touchdown. Everybody's all excited. Scatterbo and
the dancing.
Dart.
The dancing was
great
good.
Story. I'm happy they got the win. Mainly because I bet the Chiefs to win the division. But they had 3.6 yards per play in the game. They had 10 points of their 21 on drives that started inside the Chargers 20 off of picks. One where they started at the 3, one where they started at like the 20-yard line and they kicked a field goal. So this offense didn't do shit for 55 minutes of the game. 3.6 yards per play. Dart, yes, he didn't make any big mistakes, but there was no explosiveness from this offense, and their most explosive player is now out for the season. So I agree with you, JJ, and I already bet this for week 5. New Orleans is a much better offense. They're at home. It's Dart making his first start on the road, and the Saints are actually getting good pressure. Like, I thought that was the key to the game yesterday. Like, Allen was under more duress than he normally is, and that's an elite Bills O-line, and the Saints actually got to him a little bit. So, for all those reasons, I like the Saints in week 5.
Let's go, House. I got him on board. Yes.
I'm going to fire a little something off as we speak. You guys keep talking.
That is going to be a huge problem.
There's a 2.5 out there. There's a row.
So, you know what's so crazy? I'm looking at my model right now. I have the Saints as favorites.
So do I.
Not surprised.
I
Not
actually
surprised.
have them as
I'm about a
Raheem.
point. Yeah.
I have
Now
them.
you're not going to have Neighbors in there. Neighbors done
Right.
for the year. Who's Dart throwing the football to?
I have the Saints 20, Giants 17. It was about 17 and a
Wow,
half,
three.
20 and a half. So the total says 38.6. That's what I have.
Listen,
Yeah, it'll be a low scoring
Dabbundo,
game. Saints are a great teaser
all
leg,
over it.
especially if you can get 1.5, 2.5, tease it up. But yeah, there is a rogue 2.5 out there. So Saints plus 2.5, lock it in. I don't mind 1.5. Again, I make them a small favorite too. Have these teams pretty close to similar. And I don't know. I just didn't see anything in Jackson Dart's debut that makes me think that he's all of a sudden about to put the league on notice or something. I thought that game had a lot more to do with the Chargers O-line and maybe Herbert finally having a shaky game than anything else.
Totally fair. Now, I liked a lot of what I saw from Jackson Dart, but the spot is just absolutely atrocious. And we're in agreement. New Orleans is going to be the play in week 5. 2 down, 1 to go.
Yeah. Another thing I bet for week 3, and I think that the injury concerns are really hamstringing House's Commanders. And I thought that was pretty evident yesterday. Their defense had no chance. Like Bijan, they just got him in space and it was game over. And for as much as I've been a little weary of the Chargers now because of the injuries to the offensive line, I don't think Washington's pass rush without Wise is the unit that's going to really expose the Chargers' issues. Like, yes, the Chargers had issues blocking the last 2 weeks, but they played 2 elite pass rush units with Denver and then the Giants back to back. And now it's going to be a whole lot different playing this Commanders defense. So anything under 3, and there is 2.5s out there. I don't mind laying the 3. I think the Commanders, even if Daniels comes back, which I suspect he will, what is this offense, given all the limitations at running back, no McLaurin, on the road, going cross country for a second consecutive road game? I think it's a pretty tough spot for the Commanders, even coming off of a loss. And I think that the Chargers offense will kind of have their way in this game.
House, where do you stand on your team? Because we're waiting for Jane to come back. They, at the moment, have come nowhere close to recapturing the magic they had a year ago. But again, it's very, very early in the year, and a lot can change between now and the end of this season. Are you very concerned, mildly concerned? Like, well, where are we at with Washington? And are we going to see Daniels, you think, this week against LA?
Yeah, I do think Daniels is going to play. He wanted to play in the Atlanta game. The coaching staff kind of put their foot down. I want to see McLaurin is important. Did they already rule him out for this upcoming Chargers game? I didn't see that.
Haven't seen it. No, I haven't seen it either.
But I'm kind of fine with where they are in terms of 2-2. I had them in that 9-10 win range. I didn't have this travel game to the Chargers as one of their wins. Now they do have after that the Bears and the Cowboys. They have to win both of those games to remain on the path to get to 9 or 10 wins, because then they travel to Kansas City. That's a loss. And then they have consecutive home games against Seattle and Detroit. So the schedule doesn't have any giant soft spots in it, but lots of winnable games. The Dolphins are still there. They have another game against the Giants. They're home against the Broncos, which I'm happy about. Bo Nix on the road is a good spot. But I don't, it's a team that's good, like slightly above 500 to me, and there isn't anything, as long as they can remain relatively healthy, which hasn't been the case through 4 games, that has me particularly nervous.
Dabbundo, I'm excited. You're excited. We have 4 Major League Baseball wildcard games on Tuesday. We have the Yankees and the Red Sox, without question. And I'm not just saying this as Mr. New York, but it's reality. It's the best rivalry in baseball, arguably the best rivalry in sports, a rivalry that has not been a whole lot of fun after the good old days of Kareem Garcia and Pedro Martinez and Don Zimmer and Roger Clemens. I could go on and on. Yankees have not beaten the Red Sox in a postseason series since Aaron Boone walked it off against Tim Wakefield. The 0-4 collapse, the 2018 Division Series, 2021 Wild Card Series. My take on the series, Yankees are a much better team. They're much more loaded. I like their rotation as a whole more. I like their lineup a heck of a lot more. Here's what scares me. Boston's got the best pitcher in the series, Crochet. Their manager is a whiz compared to my manager. I think they have a major advantage there. And you have Chapman in the ninth inning, who has been the best closer in the sport. I am concerned about this series, but at the end of the day, talent usually prevails. Yankees are a more talented team. Is my team advancing beyond Thursday? Yay or nay?
I'll go yay. In fact, I think they're going to make the ALCS.
I'll take it a step further, Dabbundo. And I'm very nervous about this series. If they beat the Red Sox, they're going to the World Series.
Wow. Okay.
If they do. If they lose this series, I don't share that optimism, obviously, because they'd be done by Thursday. Nobody in the American League is keeping me up at night. Toronto, Seattle, Detroit, Cleveland, they're not. I think the Yankees get through this series, they're going to the World Series.
It's funny because I was on with Nick Costos a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, and he said, if you had to bet one team to win anything right now, who would it be? And I said, the Yankees. This was before they went on their big September run. Like the bullpen has turned it around. But how much faith do you have in D. Will?
I don't, but he has to pitch. See, that's the thing. I thought he was completely out of the circle of trust for the Yankees. And Raheem and House, we remember Devin Williams being on the mound for the Brewers, giving up the home run to Alonso that kept the Mets alive last year in October. And, of course, he ended up being a part of a team that knocked off the Phillies. He's, by default, their second most important reliever. Weaver's going to kind of be that guy to come in to put out a fire. But as far as, like, who is the quote-unquote eighth-inning guy, it's going to be Devin Williams. Bendo in the ninth inning has solidified things. They need their starters to go deep in the games, though, Dabbundo. That means Fried, that means Rodon, and we'll see if it gets to Schlittler, Heel, whoever it's going to be.
I think the development and emergement of Schlittler and Heel are the reason that you should be optimistic about their chances of going deep into the postseason, because you really can't do it with two. You kind of need three, and they're going to have, between Schlittler and Heel, I think 3.5 reliable starters here. So that's the optimism. I'm also a little bit of a seller of Toronto. I don't like their staff at all. I think it's a pretty mediocre bullpen. Their expected ERA in the second half of the season was 4.76 from their starters, so it's a pretty mediocre group there too. I am sticking with the kind of public darling now, I guess, is Seattle. I think they're the most well-rounded team. They also got the easiest path. So for me, it's going to be Seattle over the Yankees. But I mean, I could certainly see that series going either way if we get to it. And really, like the Brian Wu injury is kind of the big one to watch because he is so good at home. And if they're able to get him on that mound, game one, potentially game 5, then in the ALCS, they're going to be really tough to beat. And their offense has traveled this year. Their offense is second best in baseball away from home. So I like the Mariners in the American League. National League's a whole lot more interesting.
Okay. Guys, Raheem and House, don't lay minus 178 with the Yankees. You play it this way. You like the Yankees in this series, take them game 1, win the series, plus 100 on FanDuel. And if you still like the Yankees, even if they lose game 1, you're going to get them at plus money more than likely going into Wednesday.
So this is a 3-game series with all the games played on the home side.
Bronx.
Okay.
That's right. They're all in the Bronx. I'm playing at Yankees plus 100 game 1 in the series. And if they lose game 1, I will hop on and be disgusted if Simmons Red Sox go and take me out. Okay. House, you playing this at all or no?
No, I mean I'm just here to listen to you guys and enjoy it. I'm excited to have playoff baseball.
You're gonna have too much enjoyment between my team, Simmons' team, and these sort of interactions that you're gonna get over the next couple of days. I mean, who needs to bet it when you got that? Dabbundo, the other series in the American League, Detroit is minus 112 on FanDuel against Cleveland. Cleveland just took what was a 15-game deficit, turned it around. They're hosting, yet Detroit, they're going to have schoolboy in game 1. They're basically a coin flip for the series. Baseball is weird, man. Everything would say the Tigers are dead. They play terribly. There's no way in the world I take them. AD, they go in with schoolboy in game 1. I feel like they're going to win the series.
I do too, yeah. It is so funny. I mean, this Cleveland team has done it again. I mean, they are the worst offense in the playoffs. It's them and Cincinnati. They have one hitter who's been above a 110 WRC plus most of the season here in Jose Ramirez. We have just seen this so many times. And I was going through the data on like negative run differential teams that make the playoffs. It's like kind of a fun list. The Marlins got swept in the wild card a couple years ago, but then the D-backs made the World Series. to a couple years ago. The 2007 D-backs got swept. The 2005 Padres got swept in the first round. The 97 Giants got swept in the first round. But then the 87 Twins won the World Series. So there is kind of back and forth data on, what these teams with negative run differentials are. I think if this series were played like a week and a half ago, Detroit is clearly like minus 140. But also the series would have been in Detroit because they wouldn't have blown the division. So ultimately, I don't trust a single Guardians starting pitcher. And I think over the course of this 3-game series, I trust the Detroit offense more, which was not true last year. Detroit's offense is better this year than it was last year when these two teams played in the NL or AL DS 5-game series. Cleveland won Game 5. And I also think that the Scooble advantage is so strong here that I have to ride with Detroit at a pick 'em. So I laid the minus 112.
You mean to tell me tell me you don't trust the Cleveland pitchers since they got rid of all the guys who were throwing games. you don't trust.
Well, that is true. Yeah.
And then, I mean, ever since then, they've been one of the best teams in the league. I'm just messing with you, but
no, I think everybody's going to be. I mean, it's natural to be like, oh yeah, Cleveland's got the momentum. They're going to be good. But like September baseball and October baseball aren't that correlated to success. And so I think that will
switch with one game. You got the best pitcher in the American League. He goes, wins Game 1. Hey, fellas, we're fine. We're going to go and win this series. AJ Hinch has been there before. I endorse it, Dabbundo. I'm playing the Tigers as well at minus 112. Okay. Is there any world where the Cincinnati Reds, who are plus 215 for their series, Dodgers are minus 270. They're a monstrous, monstrous favorite. Minus 270 in a best of 3 is just crazy, crazy talk. Yet, there's no way in the world I think the Reds are winning a game. I would take Dodgers 2-0. Is that a sucker bet?
No, I like Dodgers 2-0. There's a plus 150 out there. I just bet it before we got on the show.
Down to plus 142. So you're moving markets already, you schmuck.
I don't know about that. But what I do know is that I don't know how the Reds are getting any runs here. They're going to face Snell, Yamamoto, and Ohtani. They're going to have to win twice against those guys. And here's the numbers on the Dodgers. Second half of the season, last 2 months since basically the trade deadline, the Phillies are the second best starting rotation in baseball. They have a 3.2 expected ERA. Second best. The Dodgers are at a 2.78 ERA in the second half, xERA. This rotation, since getting healthy, has become an absolute buzzsaw. And Cincinnati is the worst offense by far in the National League playoffs. Ellie De La Cruz has been awful for the majority of the second half. Noelvi Marte had a couple hot stretches, but has been mostly mediocre. This offense is bad. They're not good against right-handed pitching, especially, which they're going to see in theoretically 2 of the 3 games. And yes, their starting pitching is really, really good. Like Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, Andy Abbott could give some problems to the Dodgers. But the Dodgers offense is considerably better here. Their rotation is better. And they can hide the bullpen better in a short series. I think the Dodgers could have problems when they get to these longer series and they don't have any pitching. They're going to rely on all their other starters to try to piggyback innings, Sasaki, Glasnow. But in these short series, I don't see a problem for the Dodgers here. So I'm rolling with LA to sweep.
All right, we got one more, Dabbundo. Chicago and San Diego. I have a future on the Padres to win the World Series. The Padres struggle to hit the ball out of the ballpark consistently. Yeah. They also have an unbelievable back end of the bullpen. Now, maybe this is me having some PTSD and watching the Cubs last week where they looked incredibly underwhelming against the Mets. And I know Kyle Tucker didn't play, and he's one of the best players in baseball. I don't like this Cub pitching. I don't like Counsell in big-time managerial spots. I've seen him come up very, very small from his days with the Milwaukee Brewers. I am taking the Padres here because these games are close. Padre bullpen is locking it down. I'm taking the plus money with San Diego. Can I get you on board?
I am going to disagree. I'm taking the Cubbies. I think you're right.
There was too much unity, by the way, Dabbundo. That had to happen.
There had to be a switch up. Yeah,
we were in agreement on all of these, so you almost needed to do that.
I actually have an opinion on this too.
The biggest difference is what you said at the beginning, which is that the Cubs hit the ball out of the ballpark and the Padres do not. It looks like, I mean, it's early. It's only Monday. We have 3 games coming up. The wind's going to be blowing in at Wrigley for these games. That is important because Imanaga has a home run problem. The Cubs lefty that's probably going to pitch game 2. wind blowing in for him versus out, massive difference. And I think that the Padres lack power. I mean, they're bottom half team in isolated power. And also, they have been much worse against lefties this year, and they're going to see 2 of them to start the series. I wish the Cubs had Cade Horton for this because he's probably been their best pitcher in the second half, and he's going to miss the series. But the Cubs bullpen is not as bad when they stick to their top guys. They've been pretty good. You saw like the Mets series, yes, like the second tier of the bullpen is very dicey, and some of that is like the Cubs knowing in the last week they don't really need these games. They're kind of just getting some work in, trying to rest their top guys. The Cubs' top end of the bullpen actually was underrated in the second half. San Diego has the better bullpen, but I think the Cubs have the better offense considerably, and they're at home, and it's only -122. So I laid the Cubbies. Not something I love as much as I do like the Dodgers and the Tigers, but I think that the Cubbies are going to get through here.
Anthony, I think I'm willing to make a dinner bet with you on this.
Let's go. Let's go. I love this.
I like the Padres.
This. Dinner is on the table.
I like the Padres with the plus money. I think they have the better starting pitching. Like, to me, I like the idea of having Pivetta and Cease. The Cubs haven't played well against Cease. I think they have like a 1.89 ERA against Cease. And Imanaga really has a home run problem. He's given up 12 home runs in his last 6 starts. And if you look at Matthew Boyd, I really don't trust him. He has a 5.31 ERA in the last month of the season. So I know we can say that September baseball doesn't mean anything, but for pitching, I think it matters. And I think when you break down the bullpens, and we know as far as like October and September baseball, bullpens matter.
Yes.
You know, especially when you're having an evenly matched team. It's probably not going to mean as much for the Dodgers and the Reds because the Dodgers are just going to get so far ahead, it doesn't matter. And I also think in a short 3-game series, the Dodgers could say, you know what, Ohtani, go into the bullpen for game 2. Or we saw in the last like couple weeks, they put what's my guy's name?
Kershaw.
They had Kershaw in the bullpen. He's probably going to be in the bullpen. So I think their bullpen is going to be a little bit stronger. But in this one, I just think the Padres their bullpen is going to be better. And then Kyle Tucker's coming back. We don't know if this is going to be the Kyle Tucker from 3 months ago or just Kyle Tucker not having it together. He hasn't played in a while. So I really, really, really like the Padres in this series. And I'm willing to Ring of Core Week is in a month from now. If it loses, you can eat dinner with me. I eat good. I know if y'all see my Instagram, I eat well. I'll take you to dinner.
All right. Sounds good. So that's why I care so much about the win with Imanaga because he's run into some wind blowing out starts too, which like Wrigley plays so differently. It's like a different sport when the wind's blowing in there. But the one thing on the Dodgers, last year they came into the playoffs with no starters and a lot of good relievers. This year it's inverted.
Their pen stinks, Dabbundo.
But the thing is, they can use Sheehan in the pen. They can use Glasnow and Sasaki in the pen. Kershaw's not going to be on the wild card roster, but he'll be back for the DS. So they have all these guys that they can kind of just try to deploy, and in a short series, I think that's a huge advantage.
We saw the Washington. I mean, House knows when the Washington Nationals won the World Series, they had 3 guys, and then they were just like, you know what?
When Corbin was pitching out of the bullpen,
they was like, yo, you go into the bullpen.
That's right.
So I think the Dodgers are going to do that this year.
Yeah, me too.
Before we say goodbye. The Phillies are the favorites to win the World Series.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Are you surprised? Without Zach Wheeler. That is kind of nuts without Zach Wheeler. Are you guys
they are the favorites right now. I don't think they will be the favorites if the Dodgers win the first round.
So you think if the Dodgers win, that's going to be – so the Dodgers win, we get Dodgers-Phillies. That's going to be
crazy.
That would be a hell of a first-round series.
I got tickets Saturday night. Ohtani versus Chris Sanchez. Probably, if the Dodgers sweep, it will be that. So.
Oh, this is –
otherwise, it'll be
yesterday.
I haven't been to Philly all year, but I'm wondering if I should go to LA or come to Philly.
No, go to LA, man.
Oh, I think you're so close. Go to Dodger Stadium.
I haven't been home from Philly. Like I haven't been to Philly since December, which is crazy.
Well, it's a good excuse to go home. House yesterday was like, I know it didn't go the way we wanted for the Team USA. It was legitimately the best sports day ever. Like, take the results aside. I'm like still thinking about like the 10 NFL screens. I had Yankees on. I had Mets on. I had the Ryder Cup on. I still am like mentally exhausted from like switching my head on what to watch throughout Sunday afternoon, dude. It was insane.
That's the right word. And think about this. It started at 9:30 in the morning with the NFL, and then the Ryder Cup came on at noon. It didn't end until after midnight because that stupid Sunday night football game went into overtime, and they played to the goddamn last second. Like, we played the whole overtime. We got all 60 minutes and then another 10 minutes. Like, baby, when do I get to go home? Yeah, to this afternoon and to Wednesday is going to be recovery.
And y'all don't even get into WNBA, but we got 2 Game 5s. We got.
Is that a best bet? I was going to say we got a parting thought with a best bet. So Raheem, kick us off. Let's go.
Well, actually, we don't have 2 Game 5s. The Mercury actually won the series, so they're in the WNBA finals. So it's like we got a Game 5 Aces fever. Aces are laying 7.5. I'm wondering if I should go to that game. I'm a big Aces guy. So, but yeah, that game yesterday was crazy because obviously Nafisa Collier, she didn't play, and the Lynx are up 13 points going into the fourth quarter, and then the Mercury go on a 31-13 run to basically end that series. So, very disappointing for the Lynx because the Lynx were obviously the championship favorite. But yeah, I mean, we had a great sports day yesterday.
And big weekend in the Premier League. Huge title shift with Liverpool losing, Arsenal winning at the death. Crazy weekend in the English Premier League. It's all happening, JJ. It's the greatest sports month of the year here. I'm excited. Let's get it on.
We're here for it. House, here's my best bet. I'm going to lead us off. I'm going to be a nut. You're going to love this. I'm parlaying all 4 of the series prices in baseball. Let's go. Yankees, Tigers, Dodgers, Padres, a little under 8-1. You know what? You got to live a little. I'm living a little right now, okay? Give me all 4 of them. I got 3 favorites and a dog. Yankees, Tigers, Dodgers, Padres. Let's go.
I like it because you'll know how much money you have left over for NFL betting by the end of this week. All those are going to be worked out for you. I'm playing that moneyline parlay. Got to be the Denver Broncos and the Miami Dolphins, the 2 home teams, plus 104 on the FanDuel Sportsbook here for Monday Night Football.
Dream.
Yeah, I'm playing Seattle -3. I'm play Minnesota. I'm trying to get the best price on them in the United Kingdom game. Probably get them first half, and then I also like that Giants Saints under. But I like the Padres. I really do. Anthony, I'm serious about that dinner bet.
Me too. Raheem, I'm with you on that, brother. I like the Padres too.
Yeah.
The bundle already got me for dinner though. So
I got a question for you guys. You guys really like the Yankees in Game 1 against Cratchit?
No, I took Red Sox win Game 1, Yankees win the series is like plus 450. I took some there.
That's the thing that's scaring me about the Yankees. Like I really think the Red Sox just have a massive pitching advantage in Game 1.
I don't think it's massive.
It's not massive, but it's advantage.
Crochet is better than free, but it's super close.
Yeah.
I just don't want to lay 178 like in a four parlay. I'll have a little fun there, but like I'm not laying 178 with the Red Sox history over the Yankees over the last 20 years in October and some of the matchups that we detailed as far as Cora, Chapman, Crochet, whatever. But Game 1 to win the series is plus 100, and Raheem, my thought is, okay, I have that. If it loses, I'll get back in Game 2. Dabbundo, if the Yankees lose Game 1, what are they going to be, like even money to win the series?
No, they'll be plus
minus 178. They're going to move it that much?
Oh yeah, they lose Game 1, they will be plus 150, 160.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, because they're going to be minus 165 Game 2 probably.
With Rodon, yeah.
With Rodon against Bayo, and then I don't know who the Red Sox would even start.
120.
No, more than that.
Giolito probably. Oh, you think
I
more
suspect
than that
the Yankees are like minus 160 in Game 3 as well.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Dabbundo all over it. Boys, it's a wonderful, wonderful time of the year. Dabbundo, you have a best bet for us, or no?
We'll go Bengals tonight, 7.5. Way too many points. Can't get there. I know Browning stinks. Maybe he's good. They were good last year with him, 2 years ago. But this line is ridiculous. I mean, as much as Browning is likely to make mistakes, is Bo Nix not equally as likely the way he's played the first 3 weeks of the season? So, yeah, Bengals are too many points there. I think the Broncos probably win by like 4. But I think the line should be closer to like 6, not 7.5. So I'm taking the point with the Bengals. And yeah, it should be a fun week of baseball and fun week of football. I'm excited to get everything going. One note, final parting thought: these wild card games under fests. We are 75% to the under.
Remember
We've
that
now
house.
had
Under.
26 games, 17 of them under, a couple pushes. It's been under Central, so
What's your
definitely think that's
favorite under for
especially the
game
truth.
one?
I have not seen a Wrigley total yet, so I will probably pass on that one for now, but I would
It's
go
7 right now, but there's no pitcher listed.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's going to be Boyd.
It's Pavetta versus somebody.
Yeah, Boyd. I think it'll be Boyd. But I like the under in the Red Sox Yankees at 7.
Okay.
I think the Yankees bullpen
they're not even
improvements
giving
are
you
real.
hooks. That's how you know it's an underfest. It's just 7. No
7.
7.5.
I mean, Tigers Guardians is 6.5, and I bet a couple 6.5s last year in the playoffs with no issues. So
Gotta hold
and that
your
was
nose, baby.
this series. Again, these offenses, the Tigers and the Guardians offenses are not good.
Correct. And you got some big time pitchers, and the old
everybody's
adage
getting
in October,
maximized for every out. It's like a game. It's like game 7 unders
good
in baseball
pitching
in
beats good
basketball.
hitting.
If you had this to pick the game that was most likely to go over, which one is it?
Probably. Let's see.
Red Sox,
Snell starting
Yankees.
game 1. Who'd they announce game 1 for the Dodgers?
They haven't announced game 1, but right now it's Hunter Green and no pitcher listed. I'm
really
guessing
good.
Snell.
Green is pitching for Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think like a first 5 over Padres Cubs. You could entice me.
Okay.
Especially with the bullpens shutting it down. Like, because the thing is, and this is the one thing about it, when their teams are down in these series, they're still using their best pitchers. Like if the Padres are down 1 or 2 runs in the 7th or the 8th, Mason Miller's coming in the game. Jeremiah Estrada's still coming in the game. Regular season, they might throw worse relievers who give up runs. Not going to happen in a 3-game series. Like they're going to have their guys lined up unless they're getting blown out, in which case they probably already went over. So that's another part of this that gets underrated. Is just that the A bullpens are always pitching.
Yeah, that's so true. They will put Mason Miller in the game in the 5th inning if they feel like
He'll
our
pitch
base is
too.
loaded.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Gotta do what you gotta do. Boys, Health Pod. For Raheem Palmer, Joe House, and Anthony Dabbundo, John Jastrzemski signing off. Good job by Stefan. Good job by Wargon, Mikey, Meatballs, the whole crew, making us sound as lovely as humanly possible. We got Ringer Gambling content all week, playoff baseball, NFL Week 5, all that good stuff. Dabbundo will see you tomorrow. House will see you later in the week. Raheem and I back Thursday. We out. Be good, everybody. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.